Okay guys, I'm excited to teach you the summer corn salad. It gets sauteed a little bit, the corn and the zucchini, before we toss everything together, but it's a cold salad that is awesome for lunch or as a side for roasted salmon or chicken or whatever. So let me talk through what we're using today. You can use fresh corn in the summer that you shuck. It's not quite corn season when we're filming this video for you guys, so I'm using organic frozen corn, which is an option in your recipe if you can't find fresh corn where you are. I have a zucchini that we'll chop and saute, some jalapeno, a couple garlic cloves, some green onions, cherry tomatoes. I have lime juice, some feta, and I want to talk you guys through the options for chili powder that are in your recipe. Any of these will work. You can use, good old-fashioned chili powder, which is technically a blend of different ingredients, but adds delicious flavor. You could use a single varietal ground chili, like an arbol chili powder, or you can use tahini, which is a little salty and limey, but delicious and would add really good flavor to this. So any of those will work. And then we'll saute our corn and zucchini in some extra virgin olive oil, or avocado oil would work as well. Okay guys, I'm gonna start by chopping and slicing what needs to be prepped. I'm gonna slice the green and white part of these green onions. And these get added to the bowl once the corn and zucchini has cooled a little bit. So the green onions, the jalapeno, the garlic, and even the cilantro, once it's chopped, can all go in the same bowl. I want a little bit more of this last one. And we'll add these to our bowl. And then I love showing people how to cut a jalapeno, which you guys have probably seen me do, without getting all of the seeds in whatever you're making. So I'm going to stand it up on my cutting board and just slice down the side of your jalapeno. If you're sensitive to spice or you're feeding anyone who is and you want to leave the jalapeno out, that is totally fine. You can, but it adds really good flavor. And then I just stack up, I'm gonna get that seed out of there. I'm gonna stack up a couple at a time, slice them into long slices, and then go back over them. You can put like a glove on if you want to. At restaurant supply stores or on Amazon, you can order like food service gloves really inexpensively. And if you're sensitive to chopping jalapeno, you can put those on your hands. Just be careful not to touch your face or your eyes until you've washed your hands after doing this. Okay, going to get this last bit chopped up. And then you can go back over it if you want and get it a little bit finer. Keep your fingers really stiff on top of the knife. I'm gonna add this to the green onions. And then I'm going to chop my garlic. So this is kind of a large garlic clove. The recipe calls for 1 to 2 garlic cloves. I'm just gonna do this one larger garlic clove. I think that will be plenty. I'm cutting off both sides, and that just basically, I think, peeled all the skin off for me. There's a little piece left. So when you cut off both edges of the garlic, the skin releases and comes off a lot easier. You could do one of two things with this at this point. You could get a microplaner and just grate it into these other ingredients, or you can cut it like I cut shallot and onion. Just be very careful, keep your fingers lightly on top. You can angle your knife down a little bit. So I made those horizontal and vertical cuts, and then when I go back over it, it will be diced for me. And you can go back over it again and get it a little bit finer if you want. Always keep your fingers behind the knife. So I want that off of there. I'm gonna go back over this and get it nice and fine. And this is just gonna add a really good flavor to the base of our salad. It's gonna infuse into that lime juice. And I'll teach you guys a trick. This is not in your recipe. Maybe I'll add it by the time you guys have this. But if you want to mellow the raw flavor of the garlic, put it in the lime juice and just let it sit while you saute your zucchini and your corn. So I have all my garlic in the lime juice, and that's just gonna mellow out that raw intensity of the garlic and just really add some good flavor to the lime juice as well. Okay, next I need to cut all of my tomatoes in half. So whenever I add tomatoes to salad, you guys, I like cutting them in half and cut them lengthwise, not through the middle. They just look more attractive that way. Really, you can cut them however you want, but I prefer them cut lengthwise. And then this is gonna add really good, like a sweet acidity to our salad. It's gonna add good color and just yummy flavor. Okay, so get all of these cut in half. Then last but not least, we're going to chop some cilantro and get our zucchini chopped and ready. All right, we're gonna set these aside. For your cilantro, you guys, just kind of roll it up, get it tightly together. We are going to chop the leaves and the stems because I don't like wasting the stems. They have really good flavor and there's no need to toss them. Okay, so we'll get this really nicely chopped. I love cilantro. I have an aunt who cannot stand cilantro. And so I know there are some of you out there that may have an enzyme that makes cilantro taste kind of soapy. So if you do, you can substitute some fresh parsley, or you can just leave out the herbs entirely. That's totally fine. If you're a cilantro lover, like me, you can add even more than the recipe calls for because you love it. I love the flavor of cilantro. Okay, I'm going to get our zucchini chopped up and then we're good to go. Okay, guys, when you are dicing a zucchini, we're gonna cut off both ends. And then whenever you're cutting anything, you want a flat surface. So we don't want this to be a moving target. So I'm gonna cut off just a thin, I have some herbs on my knife, which is fine. I'm gonna cut off a little thin slice here. That is gonna give me a flat surface so this doesn't roll around. Then we're gonna cut slices that will be stacked up and chopped. Okay, so I'm gonna stack these up, cut them again into some longer slices, and then go back over them. I need them to line up. Okay. Keep your fingers behind the knife. Okay, and then these pieces, you can do the same thing. No need to like just use the interior pieces of the zucchini. The skin has really good fiber and color, and we're gonna saute it and soften it up anyway. Okay, so let's cut the rest of our zucchini and we'll get everything that needs to be sauteed and get this tossed up. Okay, I'm gonna heat up my pan. I have it on medium high heat. Go ahead and add a little bit of oil. I'm using olive oil. You can use avocado oil or olive oil. Let this warm up. Once you really can't hover your hand over the pan and you can tell the oil is kind of shimmering a little bit, we can go ahead and add our zucchini. We'll give the zucchini a little saute and then we're gonna add the corn. So this is just about ready. Swirl it around your pan. It's almost there. Okay, I'm adding my zucchini. Yay, I love that sizzle sound. So once you add your zucchini, give it a little bit of kosher salt. I have my corn here ready to go in a second. And basically, you just want to soften the zucchini. It doesn't need to really cook down a lot or get like really soft. You just don't want it to be raw because raw zucchini is kind of hard to digest. And this will just make it a little bit more tender. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my corn. And this is frozen corn that has been sitting out for about an hour or so. It's still really cold, but it's not really frozen. You don't need to thaw the corn before you add it. If it's frozen, it will just take a little bit longer to cook. I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt. And you still want these veggies to have some texture, so they only need to saute for a couple minutes. I'm getting veggies all over my floor. Okay, I think that's great. Now we're gonna toss everything up with the tomatoes, the rest of our ingredients, and it's so delicious. Okay guys, it's time to combine everything. And I'll tell you a story about this recipe. So this came about one summer when I had gone to the farmer's market and come home with basically all of these ingredients and just tossed them together in a salad. And my husband was like, that needs to be in our refrigerator all summer long. It's so good. It's so simple. And yummy. So this would also be great with just some grilled flank steak. I need to show you guys how colorful this is. Look at that already. That just looks amazing. I think this would be great with a grilled flank steak. I have a chili lime flank steak recipe on my blog, or fajitas or whatever. So here goes our lime and our garlic. I'm gonna add one more little pinch of salt. And then the chili powder is just to taste. It's like a little pinch. I think that's probably 1/4 of a teaspoon, just to add a little flavor. So let's toss this up. I want you guys to see how amazing this is. I'm gonna drizzle a little bit more olive oil on here to just finish off our salad. And I want to taste it to make sure it doesn't need more salt or lime or chili powder before we serve this. Okay, so I'm gonna put my feta on top, which also adds some salt. I want to give it just a little bit of olive oil first. We're gonna crumble this on top. This is also delicious, you guys, with some cubed avocado, but just add the avocado right before you serve it. And the herbs will oxidize a little bit, like turn brown. So if you want, you could assemble everything ahead except for the cilantro. and the feta, and just like add that fresh cilantro right before you're gonna serve it. And if you wanna add some avocado, add the avocado right before you serve it. And this just looks so good. So I hope you guys will try this summer. It's one of my favorites. It's so yummy and colorful. I love it.